I have a new mission for you to spy, Louie. You need to make a new poster for the new movie that's coming up based off the novel You Only Live Twice by Ian Fleming. Are you up to it? I'm always ready for the mission, M. Okay, Spy 008. Let me give you a little summary on James Bond to help you on your mission. The first thing I would like you to know is that Tracy, James Bond's wife, got murdered on his wedding day by Blofeld. And then what happened to James Bond was that his mind started getting out of whack and he started slacking off and he started gambling. Then I, M, gave him the impossible mission, also his last chance, for him to persuade Tiger Tanaka, who is the head of Japan's secret intelligence service, to provide Britain with information from radio transmissions from the Soviet Union, which is the Magic 44. And if they do agree, we will allow Japan to access one of their own information sources. When Bond got to Japan to meet Tiger Tanaka, it turned out that Japan had already accessed to Britain's information source, and Bond can't use that to exchange to the Magic 44. So Tiger asked Bond to kill Dr. Guntram Shatterhand, also known as Blofeld, who owned the Garden of Death, for people to commit suicide. He's also the one who killed Tracy. Bond happily takes the mission, but he hides the fact that he knows Blofeld's identity so he can obtain revenge. Tiger began to train him with Kissy Suzuki, and he keeps his identity as a mute Japanese coal miner to invade Blofeld's castle. He calls himself Taro Todoroki. When Bond infiltrates the castle, Blofeld figures he is a British secret agent, and Bond ended up strangling Blofeld in rage to death, and then blows up the castle. After escaping, Bond loses his memories, and Kissy conceals his true identity to keep him forever. Bond then finds out he needs to discover his missing memory and reads a newspaper that influences him to go to Russia.
Okay, I got the gist of it. This is what I have so far.
Spy 008, please explain to me your artistic choices.
The elements in the poster, the reason why I let Bond on the right side of the poster, letting him look really angry at Blofeld, is because he's remembering Tracy's death, how his wife died by Blofeld during his wedding day, and that's what's causing his rage towards Blofeld. An example of this is that on page 195 of You Only Live Twice, he grits his teeth and says, "Die, Blofeld, die." And he ends up strangling him to death. So this purely shows that he's literally hates Blofeld. That's why he's angry. Again, the reason why I drew him in a black, dark outfit that's loosely untied at the middle is because I want to show his masculinity again. Now, the main reason I drew him on the right side of the poster is to show his rightfulness, since right is associated with good and left is associated with not so good. For the next character on the right side of the poster, I placed Kissy Suzuki underneath Bond, lewdly wearing Japanese traditional clothing. I decided to include her next to Bond because Kissy Suzuki is both an obstacle and a supporter for Bond on his journey in Japan. She is an obstacle because she wants Bond to stay with her forever, living happily instead of protecting his country. And she is a supporter because she does help Bond by telling him information on Kuro Island. She is placed lewdly to support the male gaze, since this book is mainly focused on the male audience. I also want her to be wearing Japanese traditional clothing to indicate that she is Japanese, where the book is taking place, and that she is underneath Bond because she is inferior. This helps shows the supremacy of the British colony because James Bond is British and high and mighty, while Kissy Suzuki is of a colonized country and she is inferior. Another character I decided to include was Blofeld by himself on the left side of the poster, smiling. He is the main antagonist of the novel and all the reasons that caused James Bond to have all these problems. That's why I included him. For example, James Bond was slacked off because Blofeld killed his wife on his wedding day. Also caused the Garden of Death, which is a place where people can go to commit suicide. And James Bond needs to help Japan by killing Blofeld, and this will also help him obtain information and complete his mission. For instance, on page 69 of You Only Live Twice, when James Bond asks, "Why don't you arrest him? Hang him?" Tiger Tanaka respondeth, "Quite legally, a gentleman by the name Dr. Guntram Shatterhand." I drew Blofeld smiling because I made him smiling because he's admiring his own intelligence and he's underestimating everyone. He thinks no matter how hard Bond tries to catch up with him, he will never be able to bring him down. Therefore, he smiles thinking that Bond is like a hamster trying to run up a wheel, failing to catch him like a plaything. I also drew Blofeld alone on the opposite end of the poster because even though he does have people who help him, it is out of fear rather than trust and love. So Blofeld is pretty much alone when fighting James Bond.
Stop, baby, don't stop.
Contrasting the dark, evil black background on Blofeld's side of the poster, I drew a beautiful scene of Cure Island on James' side of the poster. So James Bond is like the good and Blofeld is like the evil. Cure Island is like the contrast of black and evilness, as it fills people with happiness as they play on the beach and enjoy the view rather than be evil. Cure Island is also a representation of Bond, as it makes people happy, just like how Bond makes people happy when women fall in love with him, like Tracy and Kissy Suzuki.
Nicely done, Spy 008. You have finished your mission, and the poster will be published. After all, Ian Fleming said, you only live twice. Once when you were born, and once when you look death in the face.